It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this, the 22nd day of July, 2021. Coming to you from Bedford County, Virginia, Central Virginia area. Another hot summer day today. Maybe a few chance of some scattered showers this afternoon. But I will probably be in the pool shortly. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I will probably be in the pool shortly after this is over with today. First of all, to point out to you what we planned for today was to have our good friend Jeannine Williamson on from onboard the Golden Horizon. And unfortunately, we tested, I got up literally at dark 30 for me to get a hold of Jeannine and test out the signal from the Golden Horizon to see if we could do it audio only. It was awful. One of these days, I hope the ships and the cruise lines invest enough money to have a good signal on all the ships. Especially there's more and more of us guys that need the streams to help promote. We promote what the cruise lines and cruise companies do for no money. I'm not getting paid to talk about cruises. That they would make it easier for us. But anyway, the Golden Horizon's stream's awful. We had problems with Martin, if you remember, back from the Cruise Amigos last Sunday. And again, this morning, so Jeannine and I finally decided I'm going to wait till she gets home. She gets home Saturday afternoon. I'll either tape something. She's not available Sunday. Ask her if she's available for Cruise Amigos Sundays, but she has other engagements. And maybe we'll have her on Monday and do her go live from her bedroom or whatever. So I haven't worked out exactly what we're going to do to make up for today yet, except we want to talk with Jeannine and see what the Golden Horizon is like through her experienced eye. So that's coming up. So we do have a couple things to cover today. One, I got to look at weather first off. The big yellow X right over the middle of Georgia. All right, that's a broad trough of low pressure located over southern Georgia. It's expected to move off of the southeastern United States coastline by tomorrow. Environmental conditions are expected to be marginally conducive for some gradual development over the weekend and into early next week while the system drifts slowly offshore of coastal North and South Carolina. So you guys could have some issues along the coast from ye old storm of some type. Who knows what magnitude, how much it'll develop or whatever. So, all right, the main story today has to do with Florida taking the CDC to the Supreme Court. Do you actually think they will? The hold on a ruling that would see the CDC's conditional sale order reduced to a recommendation has not taken the fight out of Governor DeSantis of Florida. In a reaction this week, DeSantis said he is willing to go to the Supreme Court if necessary. The governor's position says the CDC's strict measures governing the cruise industry as the problem. Quote, can you just have one agency and the government without Congress ever passing a law, just basically shutting down an industry? End quote. The 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled against Florida's U.S. District Judge Stephen Merryday, which added time for the appeals court to review the issue. Governor DeSantis said he would be reviewing the legal options and pursue the issue either at the Appeals Court or even the U.S. Supreme Court, something he is confident the state of Florida would win. Florida's governor added that he does not think this is just about the cruise industry, although the cruise lines are of vital importance to many residents in the state. DeSantis believes the CDC conditional sale order raised the question of whether one agency can legally stop an entire industry. Norwegian, of course, you remember, they just recently brought lawsuit up against Florida's Surgeon General, stating the proof of vaccination ban would prevent the cruise line from operating safely. And by the way, I've seen the dates on the various hearings and various dates that briefs have to be in. The Norwegian suit is progressing, but it's, you got all kinds of dates. I don't think there's actually a hearing for several weeks yet. Within the state of Florida, the governor is also facing a bunch of criticism. Can't imagine that. Which came from earlier this week from the Miami Herald. The newspaper took aim at the administration when DeSantis vowed to fight COVID measures on board cruise ships, saying the governor had lost sight of the events that transpired before a cruise ship ban came into effect in March of 2020. Yeah, we don't want to ever go back there. Maybe DeSantis has been able to blot out those horrible days in 2020 when cruise ships with infected passengers were turned away from ports around the world as those on board suffered and died. Well, we haven't. That's the Miami Herald speaking. The governor must have a funny definition of winning if it involves bringing more COVID to Florida. As for the CDC, it doesn't sound to us, the Miami Herald, as though the agency is one issuing the dictates here. Whether or not the Herald is correct in its statement, the fact of the matter is that cruise lines are operating from Miami despite the CSO, while even requiring guests to be fully vaccinated despite the state of Florida. And it seems that Florida's case against the CDC has moved on from being about the cruise industry and headed toward what seems to be a different political issue. So I don't know what's going to happen with DeSantis and the CDC and if they'll end up in the Supreme Court. And then, we think the Supreme Court, because of former President Trump being able to appoint 3 justices, would have a decided shift to the conservative side of things. And yet several of the justices have become much more moderate than a lot of us thought would happen. And the court seems to be much more moderate than definitely stacked to the conservative side of things. So anything that goes to the Supreme Court now could definitely be interesting. Yeah, because who knows what direction they're going to go. The Serenade of the Seas became the first major cruise ship to return to Alaska when she departed Seattle on Monday for a 7-night Alaska sailing and yesterday arrived in Sitka. This makes Sitka the second Alaska port to see a cruise ship. If you remember, during this test sailing, Serenade went into Ketchikan. While in port in Alaska, vaccinated parties are free to explore on their own or book a shore excursion. Those who are not vaccinated must purchase a tour through Royal Caribbean. And remember, they required vaccinations out there. Of course, those that are not able to get a vaccination or can't for one medical reason or another, or are less than 17 years of age. I know it's 12 now. If they're less than 12, they can't have one. But still, that was Royal Caribbean's way of getting past the edict. So they are basically requiring vaccinated passengers. So Alaska finally gets a season underway, and hopefully things will improve up there. Last story this morning. Disney Cruise Line has confirmed it is in negotiations to base a ship year-round at Port Everglades. That's Fort Lauderdale's cruise port. In a letter to Port Everglades Port Authority CEO Jonathan Daniels, Disney requested formal discussions and negotiations regarding a berth and terminal agreement for use by Disney ships. The letter noted that 3 new ships will be joining the family favorite fleet through 2025, starting with the Disney Wish, scheduled to launch the summer of 2022. At a recent Broward County Commissioners meeting, a vote unanimously approved a motion to authorize the county administrator to execute a terminal and berth agreement with Disney Cruise Line. Disney Fantasy has also been approved for a simulated voyage by the CDC. A date has not yet been set, but that will be happening fairly soon, I would imagine. Across the pond, Disney Cruise Line is operating sailings with paying passengers on the Disney Magic, a series of short scenic voyages exclusively for UK residents. That may change with some other changes in the rules and regulations of travel around the British Isles now. Coming up, the Disney Dream is set to begin revenue sailings on August the 9th, departing Port Canaveral on 4-night cruises to Nassau and Disney's private island, Castaway Cay. Disney Fantasy will leave from Port Canaveral, currently scheduled on September 4th on 7-night itinerary visiting Tortola, that's the British Virgin Isles, St. Thomas, and Castaway Cay. On the opposite coast, Disney Wonder is preparing for a series of cruises from San Diego beginning September 24th. So Disney is getting definitely in the middle of the action. So that's what's happening with our friends at Disney. You know, they had, which one was it? Dream, I think, was scheduled for a simulated cruise, and they had to postpone it because one of the crew members came down positive, and that turned out being a false positive. But anyway, I don't know if they actually, I think they did finally get the simulated cruise through. I have not heard that everything passed yet, but I'm assuming since Disney's gone on with the plans for sailing that it did. And they're scheduled to Fantasy for a simulated cruise. All right, let's go see who's here. I know Tom's here. I noticed that first thing this morning. Jason's with us. Jason up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Gretchen's here. Nikki's with us down in Jacksonville. Emily's here from New York. Good morning, Emily. Hot Air Tom is busy working again. Rest in peace, Tortula. Yeah, that's. I'm sorry you're not going to get to go there, Jason, this time. Yeah, that place is fabulous. I love it. But that was the cruise line itself, not Tortola doing the canceling. Emily says, I'm glad I bought a wetsuit for SUPs. Oh, that's the stand-up paddleboard this weekend. Weather on the phone says low 80s. Yeah, but what's the water tip? That's where you'll freeze your... Never mind. I won't say that. That would not be politically correct. And you know, I'm always politically correct, folks. Always. Tom Henry asked Nikki, did you see my blue nail picture? Nikki says, DeSantis lawsuit seems like a lot of schoolyard arguments to start and end with, "You're not the boss of me." Meanwhile, the variant is flourishing. I'm sorry, folks, but Florida's numbers are horrible. And of course, you know what I think about any time a politician's lips are moving, so we won't go there. Emily really wants to go paddle boarding this weekend. I think now I'm understanding the difference between a sup and a kayak. I've been getting fussed at regularly from both sides of that equation that I would call a stand-up paddleboard, which is what Martin got on like the damn fool that he is, and not a kayak, which I called it. So I've been getting hell from both sides of the pond on my lack of knowledge. I lost a lot of sleep over that one. How far are the ships that are sailing right now? It's been varying, Jason, from 40% to the largest I've seen was 70%. Yeah, 70%. They're still cutting back. They're not going full yet. I think a lot of that depends on the CDC's individual negotiation with the individual ship after they've done the simulated sailing. But Tom Henry says, if you stand in a kayak, is that okay? Does that make it an SUP? Yeah, well, if you stand up in a kayak, you're nuts. If you get in a kayak, you're nuts. At least that's what I tell my brother-in-law when he wants to take my 82-year-old sister off in a kayak someplace. Yeah, no. What Martin got on was an SUP. Yeah, I know. Kayaks have seats inside. Yeah, I know that too. The ships around UK are lesser of the percentage or 1,000. So a large 4,000 ship is limited to 1,000. Okay. So that's going to wrap me up today, folks. Again, I'm sorry that it didn't work out with Jeannine this morning. I was really looking forward to that. I'm fascinated with that ship, but man, they need to do something about a better Wi-Fi signal because it was awful. It was just awful. And I know I've seen the Wi-Fi signal from Anthem of the Seas, which apparently has a really good system, and they're in the same waters. I mean, they're close, to each other. So the signal should not be that grossly different. So anyway, it's on the what they've been receivers, or I don't understand how all that works. But anyway, that's Golden Horizon needs to work on that. But it's still, I'm fascinated with that 5-masted bark tall ship, schooner, whichever you want to call it. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for this morning. I'll be back tomorrow morning, same time, same station, 11 o'clock. We'll see if that little system off the coast of Carolina, South Carolina, North Carolina develops into anything. And other than that, I'll see if there's some news on the horizon. And who knows? Maybe we'll have another surprise guest tomorrow. Never can tell. That's it for today. This is the old fat travel guy. I'm heading to the pool. Later, y'all. I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.